Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. So today we're going to start on our blocks, the holy pose. So just take your top block to the highest level, and let's take the second block to the second level. And we're going to start and just come and bring your buttocks just about 6 inches in front of the cork block and lay back. And just extend your legs long. So we're in this holy pose, a supported back bend. My yoga teacher likes to suggest that we should look ridiculously happy. And whenever he says that, I always smile. And in that moment, I feel a great sense of joy. So just take that moment out and look ridiculously happy. It's a great place to start. So let's start and breathe together now. Let's take a slow, smooth inhale, and as you inhale, feel the side armpit chest lifting through that breath. Continue that sense of lifting through the side armpit chest as you follow all the way through your exhale. Let your exhale come into the lower belly area, soft and smooth. Again, slow, smooth inhale. Feel the back ribs lift into the body and up. Again, continuing to lift through the side armpit chest. Continue that sense of lifting as you follow all the way through the exhale. Make that exhale the same length as your inhale. So follow all the way through that exhale as it travels right out through the lower belly area, soft and smooth. Again, inhale, lifting through the center chest, lifting through the back ribs, side body as the inhale lifts the upper thoracic spine. Continue that sense of lifting as you follow through your exhale. Feel your lower ribs start to release down towards your hips. Feel your hips grip the floor. Extend your legs long, lengthening your legs as you start to feel the muscles of the legs tighten around the bone. And the more those muscles adhere to the bone, the more you will start to move away from living in your ligaments and joints. So that subscribes to youth in the body, when those muscles are tight, supporting the skeleton. Let's take the feet to the floor, hip width apart, and just lift your buttocks to release your lower back, because in this pose, the lower back starts to lengthen, so we just want to release that clutter behind the lower back area. Let's take the right foot underneath the left leg towards the right hip. You can use your left hand to take that foot a little further up. And just press your left foot to the floor, release the left hip down. So look for the center of the buttocks, look for both sits bones, and then look for the center inside those sits bones. Let's take the left foot up to the outer right thigh and press that left foot to the floor. Again, release that left hip down. Let's use the breath to inhale here as we feel the side armpit chest lifting, the back ribs in and up, following all the way through the center of the chest as the thoracic spine lifts. And on your exhale, let's look up and slightly to the left. Let's breathe deeply, everybody. Fullness in the breath creates space in the body. Following all the way through the exhale, start to feel that sense of letting go. So the exhale is the body's natural tool of letting go of tension. Breathe deeply to create that space from the inside out. Feel the breath come into the fingers and toes. So let that breath travel freely through the body. Continue to release that left hip down. Breathe, full body breaths. Let the mind start to fall away now and let your breath lead the effort. Let's lift the left foot and take that left foot up and back over to the right. Let's take the right foot to the floor, hip width apart from the left. Let's press through the feet, lift the hips. Let's tuck the tailbone in and under. So the tailbone scoops in and under as the sits bones lengthen towards the shins and up towards the knees. See if you can feel the top back thighs lifting up into the top of the thighs. So the backs lift up into the front. Let's press down through all four corners of the feet. So press your feet to the floor. Feel the outer hips start to contain inwards. Belly lifts. So we start to explore releasing the lower back from that twist. So when we're in a twist, one of the SI joints or the hips can be higher, and this creates tension in the SI joint. So this releases any memory of the twist in the spine. Let's release the hips down. Good job. And this time, let's take the left foot underneath the right leg. Use your right hand if you can grab that left foot and pull that heel up towards the right hip. Take a moment and press down through that right foot to release the right hip down. Let the breath start to lift that upper thoracic spine. Let's take the right foot up to the outer left thigh and to the floor. If for some reason you can't bring your foot to the floor, just place a block underneath your foot or a blanket or a bolster. And then let's press that right foot to the floor, release that right hip down. Let's inhale, lifting through the center, side and back body. And as you exhale, just gaze up and over to the right. So we start to let the mind fall away. We start to let the breath lead. The breath leads the effort and the mind takes a back seat. So we start to release that ongoing conversation with the self. And we avoid making any opinions, any thoughts or conclusions about what we're doing. Just let the mind take a holiday. Let the breath start to completely take the lead. Feel free to linger here as long as you like, letting that upper thoracic spine lift. Follow through the exhale, letting that right hip slowly release micro millimeters at a time, looking for equal sides, weight balance between the two halves, feeling the center of your buttocks. Good. Enjoy the breath. The breath will set you free. Let's take that right foot back over. And again, let's bring the left foot to the floor, hip width apart from the right, pressing through all four corners of the feet. Let's lift the hips up and let's tuck the pelvis in and under again, removing the memory of any twist in that lower back. So we're lengthening the lower back, straightening the spine. We're decompressing the spine actually, creating space between the vertebrae to release the nerves. Good job. Let's slowly release the hips down. And let's roll over to the right hand side. And just use your left hand to gently press you up. Let's move our blocks off the mat. And we're going to take our next pose, Anantasana. So this is an excellent pose to remove scoliosis, to help to deal with imbalance in the spine. And it's also a great stretch. I like to support the head in a more restorative way. So I'll take the bolster underneath my right cheek and just take my hand like so. And then let's straighten the legs and line your hips with your ankles and your shoulders. Let's tuck the pelvis in and under. So we're scooping the pelvis, taking those sits bones to the heels. Let's just look for that effort here. Sometimes you might need a little more cushioning underneath your right hip. And just to feel that sense of balance, see if you can lift your left leg. Just lift your left leg. Good. That a girl. Now gently bend your left knee and let's draw the thigh into the chest. So bend your left knee to start and draw it into the chest as you press out through that right heel. So tuck your right sits bone in and under, and as you draw your left thigh to your chest, start to pull this left hip and leg down towards the inner right heel. So as we pull the left heel, the left hip towards the right heel, we start to lengthen the left side of the spine. Good. See if you can come a little further. See if you can take your middle and index finger around your big left toe knuckle. So again, widen your collarbone to the shoulder blade. Pull that left hip down towards that right heel. Tuck that right sits bone in and under. So that right side of the pelvis is working hard. And then if you'd like to go a little further, just for fun, see if you can straighten that left leg. So just for a moment, widen the collarbone to the shoulder blade, tuck your pelvis, pressing through that outer right ankle and heel. Very nicely done, ladies. Great job. So this left hip is pulling down towards that inner right heel. And we widen the collarbone. Very nice. Let's bend that left knee. And let's release the left knee to the floor. Take your left hand to your left hip and just gaze over your left shoulder here. Pressing out through your right heel, tucking your pelvis. Let's inhale. Lift the chest away from the hips as you gaze to the left. So this is a beginning pose. We can go a little further here, or if you'd like to stay here, always feel welcome. So see if you can bend your right knee. Let's take the left hand to the right foot and just start by pressing your right thigh deep to the floor. So we press that right thigh and tuck that right side of the pelvis in and under. So just start that initial action, pressing that right thigh. Press, press, press that right thigh. And maybe move your right knee a little bit away from the left. And let's start to, again, return back to that twist. So we gaze over the left and take your right foot to the floor. So we're lifting through the sternum, through the upper chest, back ribs in and up. Widen your collarbone. Connect it with that outer shoulder blade if you can. See if you can squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. And remember, we're pressing that right thigh to the floor. That right foot is working toward the floor, if not on the floor. And then there's a last component of this pose. If you would like to start to straighten your left leg, you can catch your middle and index finger to the big left toe. You can take a strap or not. Just press through that left heel. So we're moving the two knees away from each other. The upper chest is lifting and we're gazing to the ceiling or slightly to the left to lift that chest. Let's all let the breath create that space for us. That's inhale, back ribs in and up. Follow through your exhale. So start to feel that sense of letting go of tension, releasing that tension from the body through that breath. Very nice. So when you're ready to release, let's release the left hand to the right foot. Let's take the left hand all the way over to meet the right. Let's bring the knees together. So bend your knees, bring your knees together. Nicely done. And then let's press the left hand to start to come up. Good job. Nicely done, ladies. So let's change sides here. No two sides are the same. And let's see how we go here. So again, give yourself a little love. Bring your left cheek to the bolster, take your left hand behind, and that's straighten the legs. That's line the ankles with the hips and the shoulders. That's tuck. So feel your sits bones drawing towards your heels, pushing out through your heels. So we're lengthening through the Achilles. Widen your collarbone. And then let's gently lift that right leg. So just check your balance here. So you've got to be tucking your pelvis to stay on center so you don't roll to the back. So tuck, tuck, tuck. And then let's bend that right knee to start and just draw that right thigh into the chest. See if you can widen your collarbone, squeeze your inner shoulder blades together so we're connecting the upper body and the lower half. Integrating the two, creating that union, that yoking, uniting the body as one, uniting the world as one. And then see if you can take your middle and index finger, if you'd like to go a little further, and just grab your big toe. That's widen the collarbone to the shoulder blades. So shoulder blades down away from the ears. That's tuck, tuck, tuck the pelvis. So scoop the pelvis in and under. Pressing through that outer left heel, that outer left ankle. Very nicely done. And let's pull that right hip down towards the left heel. So this is important to start to lengthen the right side of the spine. We pull the right leg down towards the left foot. Good job. If you'd like to go a little further, let's straighten that right leg. So tuck your pelvis in and under. So the thighs are rolling out. This right hip is drawing down towards that left heel. And we tuck, tuck, tuck. Tuck your pelvis in and under. Good. Let the breath lead the effort here. Very nicely done. So pull that right hip down, lengthening that right side body. We don't want to torque that right lower back. And then let's bend that right knee, very nicely done. And let's take the right leg in front to the floor, right hand to the right hip, and just look to the right, rolling towards that right side. So we're widening that right collarbone, squeezing the inner shoulder blades together, pressing out through that left heel, tucking that left side of the pelvis to really work the pose. And then if you'd like to go a little further, let's bend that left leg, catching the right foot to the left foot. Press down through that left thigh. So that thigh presses down actively into the floor. And maybe we move that left knee a little bit away from the right if you can. Let's start to return back to the twist. We take the left foot to the floor and the sternum is looking straight up as we open that right shoulder away from the center line. Very nicely done. So try to move your left knee a little further away from the right. Keep that left foot on the floor. And then if you want to go a little further, feel free to catch your left hand to your right foot. Use a strap or not. Supta Kapottasana. It's a double hip opener, but it's also a very nice stretch done in the simple form. So feel free to return back to the initial stage of the pose. Just a few more breaths. Lift that back rib area into the spine and up. Opening the upper thoracic spine, lengthening that spinal extension. Very nice. Let's release the right hand. Let's take it back over to the left. Let's bend the knees, bring your knees together. Nicely done, ladies. Let's use your right hand and gently press yourself up. Good job. Good. So let's take our blanket now and just place it in the center of your mat. Let's move your bolster off to the side. And let's bring our knees onto the blanket. So you can see I've got a thick blanket. We want to protect the patella. It has liquid inside of it. And we need our knees. We can't walk without our knees. So protect your knees always. Let's take the block out to the right. Let's step the left foot out to the left. Let's press through that left heel. Hips forward, and let's reach that left arm up and overhead. Good. So press your outer left heel to the floor. Nicely done. Lift your belly, hips forward, and let's open that left underarm area. So as you press your left heel, reach your left arm in the opposite direction. Widen your collarbone. Looking ridiculously happy. It's a sign of enlightenment. That's it. Breathe deeply here, full body breaths. So the longer you linger, the better. It's a lasting impression for the body when we linger in a pose. And it starts to translate from going from a muscular action through to an organic one, and then becomes an energetic pose. So the transition is really quite spectacular inside the body. Let's slowly lift back up. Let's reach the right arm up, look up. Let's take the right hand over to the left. Take your left hand down towards your left foot. Let's lift the side armpit chest. Lift the center. Right hand just a little bit further to the left. Nicely done. Breathe deeply. Great job. Let's slowly come back up, and let's take both of our blocks with us, and let's step the left foot forward and keep your blocks so they're right underneath your shoulders. Use your toes to walk that foot as far forward as you can. Let's stack that left knee on top of the ankle, and then let's widen the collarbone to the shoulder blade. Squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. Let's drop your hips. So press into the top of the right foot. Let's press into the left heel. See if you can do those two actions together simultaneously. So that union, that moment, is the yoga. And it creates a sense of freedom, moksha, in the body. So pressing through that left foot, pressing through the top of the right foot, using your balancer muscles. Let's reach the arms up and look up so the body follows the gaze as the sternum lifts. Back ribs in and up. Open those front armpits. Let the breath lead the effort here. Good job. Let's take those hands back down. So again, keep those collarbones wide to the shoulder blade. Without lifting your hips, let's tuck the right toes in and under. So see if you can lift the right thigh up into the back. But keep your hips low and then widen your collarbone to your shoulder blade. Woo! Good job. Widen that collarbone, press through the left heel, reach the inner right heel back. So the instep of that inner right ankle lengthens. Good job, everybody. Let's slowly release the right knee down. Let's take the left block over to the right. And let's open that left foot and just come onto the outer left foot. See how far down you can go. So if you could bring your forearms to the floor, great. Or just take your forearms to the blocks. Let's widen the collarbone, keep that sternum reaching forward. And see if you can tuck your right toes in and under and lift that right knee. So reach back through the inner right heel, widen your collarbone if you can, squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. Breathe. Breathe deeply. Good job, everybody. Let's slowly release that right knee down. And coming back up to your blocks. Let's take the left block to the outside of the left, and let's straighten the left leg. Lift those left toes, spread those toes wide. So we widen the toes, reaching through the big left toe knuckle. See if you can draw your baby toes in towards you. Lift your left knee, lift your left thigh. Good. Widen the collarbone to the shoulder blade. Very nice. Breathe. Very nice, ladies. Let's slowly release. Let's take the left foot back. And let's take the block now out to the left. And let's step the right foot out to the right. And let's reach the right hand all the way over. Good. Outer right heel grips the floor, hips come forward, lift your belly, open your right underarm. And of course, if you need more height, come higher. If you need less height, then come lower. Find that place in the pose, using the props that best suit your body. This is the brilliance of the Iyengar props. This is the brilliance of this system, is that it really allows us to find our place in the pose. Very nice. So let's slowly lift back up. And let's reach the left arm and look up, because the body really does follow the gaze. We know that from the Olympics. Widening that right collarbone to the shoulder blade. Let's take the left hand over to the right. So this right hand one day will come to that right foot, and the hands will one day come together, just maybe not at this moment. So lift the belly, side armpit chest lifts, sternum lifts, left hand a little further to the right. Breathe and linger. Enjoy the breath. Let's slowly lift back up. And let's take our blocks with us as we step the right foot forward. So remember, keep those blocks right underneath your shoulders so they're extensions of your hands. And then walk your right foot as far forward as you can, relaxing and releasing the hips down. Let's keep that knee so it stacks above the ankle. The knee should not really pass the ankle unless you're in a squat. Let's widen the collarbone to the shoulder blade. Press through the top of the left foot. Press through the right foot. See if you can press through both areas together. Find that unison, that sense of togetherness. All things coming together as one. It is one body. We are one whole. There we go. So using those balancer muscles that start to lift the arms up. Nicely done. Lift your sternum. It will help lift you a little higher because the body will follow. Let the breath perform its magic. Breathe to create that change from the inside out. And then let's take the hands back down without lifting the hips. Let's tuck the left toes in and under and just lift the left knee. So we like to pop up, but it works a little bit better if you can start to tighten that left thigh and wrap it around the bone. It's called grounding that left femur bone. And then we feel that they're working together. We can feel how that thigh starts to support the bone, starts to support the skeletal system. Let's widen the collarbone, squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. Breathe deeply. So it's a lot of work to focus on your breath because it's a natural instinct for the body. It comes without focus, but that effort creates a sense of peace, a sense of stillness inside. It wipes all of the clutter free inside the mind. Very nice. Let's release the left knee down. Let's take the right block over to the left and just walk your right foot slightly to the right. So come up onto that outer right foot. So you see how everything looks nice and symmetric. That's what you're looking for, is that beauty, that symmetry in the pose. When things start to look really wonky, then you're not really supporting your joints. So let's take our forearms to the block, unless you can come a little lower, feel free. And then opening your chest, widening your collarbone. Let's tuck the left toes in and under and see if you can lift that left knee, keeping your hips nice and low. Ooh, so widen your collarbone. See if you can get your chest to come a little further forward. That's it. Breathe deeply. Full body breaths, ladies. Very nice. So it's hard to do all those things. But yoga is about this and that. So we don't leave something behind as we move forward. We try and keep that cue and just add. Very nice. Let's release that left knee down. Slowly coming back up. Let's take that right block over to the right again. And let's straighten the right leg. So reach through that big right toe. Try to draw your baby toes back. So that big right toe is connected to the quadricep muscle. So feel how reaching through your big right toe lifts that right thigh up. And we help by lifting the kneecap, lifting the top of the thigh, and then we find that hinge at the hip instead of the upper spine. Very nice. So we widen the collarbone. Feel free to hinge and fold right over your leg. Very nice. And then let's slowly come back up. Great job, girls. So let's take a little stretch. We can do it from the floor or we can come onto the block. So you can either do this on the floor or you're going to bring your big toes onto the block, bring your inner heels together and open your knees and press your heels down. So the alternate is to do this directly on the floor, bringing your big toes and your inner heels together, But the work is to press those heels down, press those heels down, press those heels down, that's it. And then widen your collarbone area. Widen your collarbone area. So bring your big toes together, inner heels together, and then press those heels down, widen your collarbone. That's it. So it's a slow drip, it comes over time. But this is the #1 disease center, this pelvic floor area. And it's the #1 disease center for both genders. So clearly sitting has an impact on our health. And so we're spending the majority of our time opening the pelvic floor, opening the upper chest, and we're spending a lot of that time in a back bend, meaning the spine is in extension. Contrary to how we typically sleep, how we spend our day. Very nice. Let's bring the knees together and let's come and sit on the block, or again, you can sit directly on the floor. So your decision. Let's take the right foot over to the left hip and let's stack the left knee on top of the right. So if you prefer, feel free to explore both options. When you participate in the effort of deciding how high, what prop to use, you increase the success rate by about 80%. So participating in your own healing is extraordinarily important. Let's reach the arms up, so feel that length. Feel that spinal extension as the spine lifts up into this deep back bend. And we're using the pelvic floor to do this. But this is also a pose that opens the hip abductors. So let's release the hands down. See if you can keep your collarbone wide to the shoulder blades. Squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. So you can feel this area here, the hip abductors, get a nice stretch. See if you can start to fold forward. Just take a moment. Widen your collarbone, so keep that hinge in the hip, not the upper spine. That's it. Integrating the upper half of the body with the lower half so that the body is working as one unit. Otherwise, you'll just have to go back. Good. Widen your collarbone, lift your sternum. So allowing that breath to lift and lengthen is the ticket. The mind can just take a holiday. Very nicely done. So let's slowly come back up. And let's take a little twist because we're here. Let's take the left hand behind and let's take the right hand to the left thigh. That's inhale, widen your collarbone, squeeze your shoulder blades together. And as you lift those back ribs in and up, let's exhale and look to the left. Breathe deeply. So the breath is really what creates that movement inside the body for a twist. So that's inhale, back ribs in and up, lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist. Maybe you can walk that left hand a little further over to that right hip. Breathe deeply here, full body breaths. Good. Let's look forward and just release your hand. And let's just release the legs for a moment. So just take your legs back to Dandasana and just flap your legs. Release your knees if there's any tension. Good. And then let's do the other side. So it's very common for the body to take the path of least resistance and do the same side twice. So just be aware. Let's take the right foot, left foot in, right knee over top. So we keep these feet a little flexed so that this engages the shin to protect the knee. So we do not want to be stretching our knees. If you're feeling any tension in your knee, let me know. There's many things we can do to open the knee or support the knee in a way that doesn't tax the knee. If the hips and the knees go head to head in opening, and the hip decides it can't go any further, the knee will pay that price. So be sure, the hip is larger, so it will win 100% of the time. That's it. So that's widen the collarbone, lift your belly, lift the corner of the smiley face up, sternum up, crease of the armpit chest lifts, and then maybe fold a little further forward. Try to work on keeping those inner shoulder blades squeezing together in the back of the body, widening the collarbone. That's about a 20-year process. So just do your best today, not to worry about tomorrow. The studies show that if you choose a goal that is beyond your capacity, you're setting yourself up for failure. So choose something that you can do today, and try not to allow the mind to decide on the pose before you've even explored the pose. So don't let the mind make the decision for you before you get there in terms of whether you're going to try it or not. Try to stay present, and then when you feel that maybe something might not be working, feel free to move back out. Let's slowly come back up. Good. And let's take the left arm to the outer right thigh. Let's walk the right hand back. Let's inhale, lift your back ribs, widen your collarbone, and let's look to the right. So we use the length of the back body coming into the spine and lifting with the breath. This is what brings that spine further and deeper into that back bend, that spinal extension. And we widen the collarbone, maybe walk your right hand a little further to the left. Linger. Very nicely done. Good job. And then let's look forward. And let's straighten the legs. And just do a little hula to release anything that might be catching. Good. So let's continue our lunging and come on to the back. So if you are very tight, bring a blanket underneath the back of your head. If you don't think that you need that support, not to worry. Let's just come on to the back body and draw your thighs into your chest. So I might just give this from this vantage point. I'll just swing around. So just draw your thighs into your chest, rocking from side to side. And let's take the hands around the back of the right thigh, either behind the leg or on the shin. Widen your collarbone. Let's extend the left leg long. So bring your left hand to the floor and press that left hand down into the floor as you extend that left leg. So the more you reach that left heel away, the more you're working that left thigh muscle and tightening it around the bone. The right hip is drawing down towards the left foot. So pull that right hip down. Keep your collarbone wide. This left hand helps. As you press that left foot, left leg, left hand into the floor, drawing the right hip down towards the left heel. So continue that action. This helps to lengthen the right side of the spine. Let's take the left hand now to the right shin, and let's draw that thigh even closer. Middle and index finger takes the big toe. And again, feel free to either linger here, pulling that right hip down, drawing your shoulders towards the floor, and then if you like, let's straighten that right leg. So even if it's just for a moment, so push out through the left heel, tuck your pelvis, right shoulder down to the floor, just do what you can. Very nice. And then when you feel that you'd like to come back to the last moment, feel free. Very nice. And then let's take the right heel to the left hip just for a moment. So that right heel is coming just slightly inside the left hip, flexing that foot. You can reach your right knee down towards the left foot. So tuck your pelvis in and under. That inner right thigh is lengthening towards the knee. The top of that right hip lengthens along the top of that thigh out through the knee. The outer back thigh is lengthening towards the knee to release that knee down. Widen your collarbone. Breathe deeply here. Good job. So of course, if you wanted to go a little further, you could simply by bending your left knee and taking your left heel over your right shin, and then taking the legs back down towards the floor, coming into Matsyasana. But today, our focus really is just on the first half. So let's release the pose. Let's take both thighs into the chest. Just take a moment to rock from side to side to release any tension in the lower back and the SI area. Let's take the hands behind the back of the left thigh this time. Extend your right leg long. So reach out through your right heel. Take your right hand to the floor. Widen your right collarbone. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And let's draw that left hip towards the right heel, lengthening the left side of the spine, working from the center of the buttocks. That's all. Take some deep breaths now. Breathe deeply. Let the breath create that sense of freedom inside the body. Moksha, freedom. So we can take our right hand to the left shin, middle and index finger around that big left toe knuckle, and we can linger here, working here, drawing that left shoulder blade down the back. Or we can go a little further and straighten that left leg. Supta Padangusthasana. So this left hip is drawing towards the inner right heel. The back of that right thigh is drawing down. We just do what we can. And then when you've had enough, let's take that left heel just inside that right hip. Keep the foot flexed. And then release that left knee down. So that inner left thigh is lengthening towards the knee. The top of the hip is lengthening along the top of that thigh, out through that kneecap, and the same with the outer left thigh. Eventually bringing that left knee down to the floor. Good job. And then as mentioned, if you wanted to go a little further, you could bend your right knee and take your right foot over, coming into the Padmasana, the lotus pose, and then bringing your forearms and starting to lift up into Matsyasana. But we're not going there today. So let's slowly release. Very nice. Let's draw both thighs into the chest, and let's roll to the right. And just before we explore doing this standing, we're going to take just a nice, easy downward dog. So if you've ever had a shoulder injury, it helps to take your hands wide, really wide, even the outsides of the mat. So if you're beginning in your yoga practice, it never hurts to have your feet and hands quite wide apart. Let's draw those outer arms down the back. Let's tuck the toes in and under, leading with the hips as the hips lift up. Toes are turning slightly in. And let's lift the kneecaps up here. Roll the creases of your inner elbows up towards the ceiling. Feel free to linger as long as you like. And then you're going to start to make your way to your feet, walking your hands in towards your feet and coming up into standing. So just take a moment and just step off your mat. If you want to use the wall, feel free. Again, we're just looking at this same pose we've been doing from different vantage points. So let's start and just bring all the weight into your left foot and see if you can bend your right knee. Widen your collarbone to the shoulder blade. Yep. So we hug that thigh into the chest. Take your left hand to your right shin, middle and index finger to the big right toe. So we can linger here, widening the collarbone, squeezing your inner shoulder blades together, and then maybe straightening that right leg, or not. That's it, you guys. Very nicely done. And then let's slowly release. Great, very nice. Let's bring all the weight into the right foot. And let's take the hands around the left shin. So it takes a moment, moving slowly, moving meticulously, focusing, taking a moment to find a spot in the room. Your drishti can also help. A spot in the room that's not moving. So let's hug the thigh to the chest. We're taking the right hand to the left shin, middle and index finger to the big left toe, and we can either stay here or try and straighten the left leg. Widen your collarbone, draw that left shoulder blade back, back ribs in and up, lingering as long as you like, and then let's slowly come out, whoop, out of the pose. Good. All right, you guys, nicely done. What do you say we come into Shavasana? That's a well-earned last pose, our Cope's pose. So just take a blanket underneath the back of your head. And then let's take a moment and draw those shoulders in and under. And let's tuck your pelvis, extend the legs long. So just have your legs come out ever so slightly. Linger here for a moment as you start to close the eyes and surrender. Namaha. Allow the mind to be still with the body. Let's bring the mind to the center of the forehead, the third eye. Separate the two halves of the forehead. So allow the left side to fall down and over to the left. Allow the right side to fall down and over to the right. Softening now through the innermost corner of the eyes. Softening your eyelids. Let's soften through the innermost corner of the ears. This is where attention begins. So softening through the innermost corner of the ears. Letting the body be heavy to the earth. Allowing Mother Earth to rise up and catch the body, creating that sense of just hovering above the surface. In this place of stillness. Let's take our hands to the belly and gently drawing your thighs into your chest. Let's take one final rock, just rocking from side to side here, releasing through your lower back, And then let's roll over to the right. And using your left hand, let's slowly make your way up. Good. And let's take one last inhale, reaching the arms up as we look up. Hands to prayer on the exhale as you close the eyes and just take a moment and thank yourself for this great effort to bringing something new and leaving whatever it is you no longer need here on your mat. Thank you all for allowing me to guide you.